All right, the story is a little bit crazy. It's January 7, 2018. Michael Terpin is in Vegas for a crypto conference. All of a sudden, Michael gets a notification saying that his passwords for AT&T have been changed. Michael's heart drops because he's confused as to why he might be getting this message. He's not the one that changed the password, so who might have done this? Little does Michael know that he's a victim of this global scam called a SIM swap attack. And while Michael spends about 2 hours with the AT&T agent trying to figure out why and how his password might have been changed, in that time span, these scammers were able to get Michael's crypto wallet account details and steal about $24 million from his crypto wallet. In today's story, we're going to talk about Michael Terpin's story, what exactly happens to him. We're going to talk about what exactly is a SIM swap attack, and then we're going to talk about how you can protect yourself from a SIM swap attack as well by having a conversation with Mark Kreitzman, a representative of this company called Efani, who are a leading mobile service provider specifically catered to protect individuals from getting a SIM swap attack. So that being said, what exactly is a SIM swap attack? A SIM swap attack is pretty much when thieves walk into a store like AT&T, T-Mobile, or Verizon. They either have information on their victims like their name, date of birth, or address, and the goal is to go up to the clerk, act like you are that victim, and have that clerk reassign that victim's phone into one of your phones. Or you can just simply walk up to the store, bribe the employee, and then have them reassign that phone into your phone, which is exactly what happened to Michael Terpin. And once they have that information, they have access to your second factor of authentication. You know the little message that you get, that code that you get when you want to change your password or any other secure details that have to do with the second factor of authentication to your phone? Yes, that code they now have access to, so they can change your email, your social media accounts, in hopes of getting access to financial information, your bank accounts, your crypto wallets, in this case, Michael's crypto wallet, and they were able to steal $24 million. All right, let's go back to Michael's story. I'm sure as infuriated and as angry as Michael was about losing $24 million, as I'm sure a lot of us would be as well, he was also a very determined individual because he had the financial means, the time, and any other resource needed to be able to track these scammers down, find them, find out why they did what they did, and also how he can get his money back. But not only that, Michael also files a very broadcasted lawsuit against AT&T for $224 million. In Terpin's case, they were able to find these hackers, and the funniest thing is that these hackers were just a bunch of teen gamers. The ringleader was a 15-year-old Ellis Pinsky. The other conspirator was a 20-year-old Nicholas Truglia, who was actually the reason why these kids got caught in the first place. Because Truglia didn't care about his newly found money, and then he started being very flashy with it. He'd post nice watches that he'd buy, the nice cars that he would purchase, the private jet charters. On one of the occasions, he charters a private jet from this broker called Chris David. David gets him a $40,000 jet. He's able to get him concert tickets. He's able to get him bottle service and just anything flashy that he wants. But Truglia and Chris had a falling because Chris was also trying to sell Truglia a Bentley. That deal didn't really go through. Chris is now mad. And on one of their gaming sessions between Chris, the private jet broker, and Truglia, the scammer, he hears Truglia bragging about the fact that he's able to steal so much money from Michael Terpin. And Chris goes and records that conversation, and he sends it to Michael Terpin saying, look, this is the guy you're looking for. Terpin's lawsuit against AT&T for $224 million was unsuccessful and not in his favor, but he was able to successfully file a civil lawsuit against Nicholas Truglia for $75 million, which he did win. But it's not really clear if Truglia has the money to be able to pay Michael back, so we don't really know if Michael got his money back or not. But the good news is that the kids and these scammers were caught, and we know exactly how they were able to get access to Michael's crypto wallet information. And now let's chat with Mark Kreitzman from Efani. Mark, thank you so much for being on the call. Mark is a representative of a company called Efani.com. I'll let you do the introduction to yourself, your background, and give us a little bit story about what Efani is, what they do.
Thanks for having me on. So my name is Mark Kreitzman, and I've been in cybersecurity now for about 23 years, developed a few different startups in the cybersecurity space. I've been dedicated to the mobile security space now for about 8 years at 2 different companies, and for the last 4.5 years, close to 5 at Efani. And the way that I got to Efani was I was in between startups. I was thinking about doing my own startup, and I got SIM swapped. So I became a mobile hack victim, and through that mobile hack, they stole crypto. They get into my bank account, my email, cloud. They also got into my web hosting account and took my startup that I had been developing. And so I thought at that point, I've never been so angry in my life. And I sought out the only person who had solved the problem or claimed they did. We hit it off. He was into crypto. I was into crypto. And we changed what he was doing. We changed the name into Efani, and we've been under Efani for 4.5 years. And so turning a tragedy into more than a business, is a passion project. It ended up in this startup called Afani. So it's a good thing.
How common are SIM swap attacks? And have you noticed that it's primarily a select group of people that are getting targeted, or, you know, that have maybe crypto accounts or hold crypto in crypto wallets, or is it anyone that has a bank account?
Yeah, so it's a great question. So we know from the FBI statistics that it's thousands per year, but the FBI is only catching probably 5 to 10% of it, because most people don't report to the FBI. You know, the eSIM is great technology. It makes it easy for us to activate our new phone, because it also clears the limit of a SIM swap hacker who used to be limited by he had to have a phone, but he also had to have these physical SIM cards. And so he was limited by these physical SIM cards. But now, like the new iPhone 15, for example, has 2 eSIMs, and an eSIM can handle 8 eSIMs, and which means that they can have 8 eSIMs, swap of one person, boom, 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 8 times, delete those, do 8 more, do 8 more. So now there's no limitation.
It seems like, I think you touched a little bit on how these attackers, how they derive the information to go forward with the attack, right? So we know that it's, you know, they derive it from, you know, eSIMs and SIM cards themselves. Can you walk us through just, you know, like you're talking to somebody that has absolutely no knowledge about what a SIM swap attack is. I know that, you know, they sometimes walk into these stores, like a T-Mobile store, right? An AT&T store, and act like they are the victims themselves. And, you know, they might have a little bit of information on those victims, and to kind of, you know, get that information, have them transfer a mobile number to one of their phones. I know that's one of the ways. Another way is to kind of bribe. You know, are those the only 2 ways that people or these attackers derive information to, you know, go forward with their attack?
And the fun about doing a video on all the different ways, but I feel like I would be creating hundreds of SIM swappers out there. But just to give you a few different, I mean, you already touched on a few of them. So now I can do that by learning everything about somebody. I can go on LinkedIn, for example, and find some details, run AI search tool, sales navigator tools, then run AI search tools on that. And at this point now, you can find out every email that somebody's using that's profiled, associated, all their mobile numbers, and you could actually pre-test. I could take all those email IDs and go to every bank, every crypto, wallet, exchange, and just put it in, say, forgot password, see what happens. So one way is social engineering. Another way is these sort of soft approaches. Now they're doing these 2-step approaches. So, you know, there's no penalty for me to go into a store and say, hey, I want to buy a phone and add a line to my account. And then they're like, great, I'm going to make a commission off this. So I'm going to pretend to be you. And if they can't verify me and they're like, I'm sorry, but I can't put this on your account, like, there's 0 penalty. I just walk out and I go to the next store. But if I can get verified, and I get a phone and a line on your account, I can go home, call the 800 number and say, hey, I just bought a phone. I'm calling from a line on your account. So it's actually under your name. I need a device ID because that phone's in my hand. And the person behind the 800 number is going to be thinking, well, he's calling up a line on the account. He's got the device ID. And I say, I want to switch my old line to the new one.
What can people do to protect themselves? And also, if you could, with the same question, touch a little bit about what can Afani provide to protect their users?
And what we do is very simple, reselling AT&T and Verizon, so our customers get a choice. When your number gets ported over to Afani, we lock it down and everything becomes manual at that point. And nobody can just electronically pull you out without multiple authorizations on our side. We're also removing your personal information from the carrier. So if the carrier gets hacked and the data is released, they can't steal what the carrier doesn't have. So you're protected from these data breaches on the carrier side.
Glad to know that there are a company like Afani that exists that can provide that protection. So again, thank you for your time. Thanks for the insight, and we'll be in touch. Ladies and gents, if you want to protect yourself from potentially being a victim of a SIM swap attack, then I highly suggest logging into Afani.com. So Afani and I were able to partner up on this video, and they were able to provide you guys with a promotional discount if you want to sign up for their services. All you'd have to do is go to Afani.com/Haroon. I love that I'm doing a / with my hands, /Haroon. The promo code is going to be HARUN, Haroon. All those details are going to be in the description in the bottom below. And look, I really don't need to sell you on Afani services. They're the leading experts in this sector, and they truly will protect you from this global SIM swap epidemic. Think of it this way: for only $10 to $20 extra every single month, potentially saving yourself from a thief literally taking thousands to even millions of dollars out of your hard-earned cash. With all that being said, thank you all for watching. Hit that like button, join the family, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.